Yeah, in terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson Lubin. Some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty southpaws.
Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout?
Like, it's honest. But again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. Again, I get that feeling that he just is there.
Jake Paul's latest move has raised eyebrows as he brings in Shakur Stevenson to spar ahead of his upcoming fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. According to Paul, Stevenson personally wanted to be part of the camp, adding credibility to his preparation. Paul explained that his team has assembled a group of skilled southpaws, fighters smaller than him but experienced enough to provide the right looks. What makes this especially surprising is that there is no prior connection between Paul and Stevenson. Still, Paul believes training with Stevenson and his other sparring partners will sharpen his skills for the challenge Tank presents.
Yeah, in terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson Lubin. Some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty south.
Some analysts have raised questions about the sudden connection between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson, calling it suspicious and unusual. They argue that Stevenson seems to have sold himself into sparring work the way Jaron Boots Ennis did when he helped Canelo Alvarez prepare for Terrence Crawford. What makes this situation stand out is the lack of any prior relationship between Paul and Stevenson. Boots had a history with Canelo as their families had connections, making it easier to understand why that arrangement was made. In Shakur's case, there is no shared background or personal ties with Paul, so some observers suspect that money played a big role. The belief is that Paul may have offered Stevenson significant financial incentives to come on board. This fuels debates about whether Stevenson's decision is purely business-driven rather than boxing-inspired, as it marks an unusual partnership between two fighters with no past association.
Shakur Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly to make it happen?
Shakur Stevenson has addressed his perspective on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis matchup, offering a balanced take. He explained that if he were in Tank's shoes, he would see the fight in two ways. From a business standpoint, the financial opportunities and publicity make sense, but as a fighter, Stevenson admitted he personally wouldn't take such a bout. His comments highlight the contrast between treating boxing as a career move and valuing it as pure competition. While some critics see his sparring role with Jake Paul as questionable, Stevenson openly acknowledges that money plays a part in such decisions. In doing so, he points out how modern boxing increasingly blurs the line between sporting credibility and entertainment.
Oh, can you blame a man for taking that opportunity? Because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. As a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So as a business, I understand. I ain't going to hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made.
At the official press conference, sparks flew when Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis faced off, shoving each other in a heated moment that instantly lit up social media. While fans reacted with excitement, many analysts argue the clash was more performance than genuine hostility. In today's boxing landscape, these staged confrontations are often designed to generate viral buzz and boost pay-per-view sales. The shove between Paul and Tank feeds perfectly into the storyline. Will the bigger man overpower the smaller, more skilled fighter, or will speed and technique prevail? This blend of drama and competition ensures that even casual fans will be intrigued enough to watch Fight Night unfold.
Southpaw orthodox matchup, left hand down the pipe. You can even see here, I'm not even trying to do the whole body language breakdown, but you could even see Tank could get under that left hand because he's 5-0. He could roll under that left hand, and here comes the brick hand over the top. If he lands something like that in 10 ounces, I'm going to tell you this. Jake's 200 and something pounds. That's still going to hurt at the very least, and who knows what, because Tank's got ridiculous power. So Jake, a little sloppy on the push there. He got pushed. He wanted to get it back. There's something to be taken away from that, but lines up perfectly for a counter left hand. And you even see his promoter here is kind of grabbing his left hand because Tank wanted to let it fly. And Jake backed up a little bit. He said, oh, and Tank comes with that. Tank, man. Tank said, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied. All right, dude, there you go. Listen, takeaways from this thing, I don't know. Tank seemed to have a little bit more energy today. He seemed to be more lively. Him going back and forth with the media, with Jay Leon, with Jake, with Aiden Ross. There seemed to be a bit more energy today. That's all I really asked for. So in terms of, selling us on something, sure. Better job today from both guys. Jake, seemed a bit more locked in here with Tank as well. They had a little bit more fun. Tank going after Nikisa was pretty funny. But listen, this doesn't change anything in my mind. The 10-ounce gloves doesn't really change anything to me. I mean, again, I think that's a bad idea for Tank, more so because even if Jake doesn't land clean, those are 10-ounce gloves. It's still going to hurt. Tank is still punching in gloves that are 2 ounces heavier than he normally uses, so I don't know how that's a win for him. The $2 million bet almost certainly won't happen, which I didn't think would in the first place, but Tank pretty much confirmed it. And we're all left with the same kind of idea that we thought about this to begin with. This is an entertainment exhibition that we know is going to draw a ton of eyeballs. I'm going to watch, and there's going to be great high-level competition boxing on the underneath card. And even in the main event, if something is to happen, if someone is to get knocked out, it will go mega viral, and both these guys are going to make a shit ton.
Despite the entertainment-driven promotion, boxing insiders insist that Gervonta Davis is not treating this fight as a joke. Analysts have pointed out his body language and his preparation, suggesting that Tank is locked in and determined. They highlight that the stakes are higher than many realize. By beating Jake Paul, Davis could secure both a massive payday and greater mainstream recognition. Experts warn that Paul should not underestimate Tank the way he might have underestimated older opponents like Mike Tyson in promotional discussions. Unlike exhibition fighters, Davis is in his prime and known for his ferocity inside the ring. If Paul approaches this fight casually, the results could be disastrous for him. The seriousness Davis brings to the training camp shows that he is fully aware of the financial rewards, but also the risks of losing to a YouTuber turned boxer.
In this particular in the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson. First of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, you know, when you see a car crash, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I got to say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn.
Despite the showmanship surrounding the promotion, insiders insist that Gervonta "Tank" Davis is taking this fight with Jake Paul very seriously. Analysts point to his body language and preparation, noting that Tank looks focused, determined, and fully locked in. For him, the stakes are far greater than just another payday. A win over Paul not only guarantees millions, but also pushes him further into mainstream recognition. Experts warn Paul not to underestimate Tank the way he may have underestimated names like Mike Tyson or Anderson Silva in the past. Many fans believe those older legends held back against Paul. But Tank is different. He's young, in his prime, and known for his ferocity. If Paul comes in casual, showboating, or relying on questionable tactics, the consequences could be disastrous. Unlike exhibitions, Tank won't be pulling punches. Some commentators compare the hype to a car crash on the highway, something you don't want to see, but can't help slowing down to watch. Love it or hate it, this fight is guaranteed to draw massive attention. Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult even framed it as a defining cultural moment. In his view, if Tank knocks out Jake Paul, he won't just win a fight, he'll become a hero to boxing purists and casual fans alike. Many see Paul's rise from YouTuber to main event headliner as a challenge to boxing's legitimacy. A Tank Davis victory would symbolize the sport striking back, with Davis carrying the pride of boxing against Paul's entertainment-first career. In short, beyond the money and the spectacle, this matchup has become a battle of image and identity. The seasoned fighter defending boxing tradition versus the disruptor who turned the sport into viral entertainment.
Gervonta Tank Davis stops that. If he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition. But it doesn't matter because optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're going to help you up. We're going to see about it. Help you up. We're going to see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it. He will be a boxing hero. It will go viral over and over. It's the same thing. No, not even the same. It's not even close. But there was a viral reaction when AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou.
Anthony Joshua can dispose of the MMA champion.
When AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou in the first round, it was like, now get out of here.
Former champion and current analyst Timothy Bradley hasn't minced words about the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, dismissing it as an easy money matchup for Tank. Bradley argues that Davis's elite skill set and proven experience against world-class opponents make Paul's challenge pale in comparison. In his view, there's no realistic path for Paul to win, framing the bout as a low-risk, high-reward opportunity for Davis. For Bradley, the fight isn't about competitiveness, it's about revenue. He sees the event as a way for both fighters to cash in, with Paul's celebrity status serving as a platform to boost Davis into a bigger mainstream star. His stance echoes a broader sentiment in the boxing community. Tank is expected to win comfortably while capitalizing financially. Adding to the intrigue, the decision to stage the bout in Florida has raised eyebrows, with some questioning the motives behind that choice.
No innocence and say that it ain't fixed, because check this out. Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. You know, Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happened when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You know, you start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. You know, fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he the ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no. Yeah, false sense of security. Now he try to pick on small folks, right? You know, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no. I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog. And I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro.
Analyst Paulie Malignaggi has weighed in on the matchup, suggesting that both the fight itself and its location are part of a larger strategy to push Gervonta Davis into mainstream superstardom. According to Malignaggi, a victory over Jake Paul, especially on a major U.S. stage, would introduce Tank to an audience far beyond traditional boxing fans. While the deeper motives behind the fight remain uncertain, the business angle is clear. Jake Paul guarantees crowds, media buzz, and crossover attention, while Davis delivers the credibility and explosive talent of an elite fighter. By pairing the two, promoters may be attempting to transform Davis into a household name across the country. Florida's selection as the host site further supports that goal, offering accessibility for fans, celebrities, and media while maximizing visibility and cultural impact.
There's obviously a reason why the networks wanted to make Gervonta Davis a star.
But let's look at it. And Robert, I want to ask you this. When you looked at the numbers for Canelo, you know, his fight against Crawford, 41 million viewers. That's what they got. It was the most viewed championship fight of this century. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson got 108 million. It got more than double, significantly more than double. Is it the idea of the streaming services, Netflix, where they're following the numbers, Robert, and that's where the numbers are?
It's what we're coming to, you know, the real fights where they deserve to be seen throughout the world are, you know, it's great. They have good numbers, but when you see guys, you know, that are YouTubers, guys that are 60-year-old retired and coming back, you know, and getting 2 times more than what a real fight, it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing, kind of sad that we're getting there, that we're in that situation. But I also can't blame them. You know, they're all making a lot of money. That's why Tank is doing it. I think it's ridiculous. It's a joke. But I can't go against that either. You know, he's making a lot of money. Jake Paul is doing his thing. Jake Paul is you know, he makes these fights happen and gets the views. So people are tuning in. You know, that's the problem, that people are tuning in.
Promoter Nakisabai Darian has sparked discussion with his comments about the fight's rules. He confirmed that the bout will use 10-ounce gloves, standard for lighter weight divisions, but a notable choice given the size disparity between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. When pressed on whether a rehydration clause would be in place, Bidarian declined to answer, leaving uncertainty around whether Tank might face restrictions on regaining weight after the official weigh-in. Rehydration clauses can heavily influence a fight, as they limit how much a boxer can recover before stepping into the ring. The silence on this issue has fueled speculation that Paul's team may have pushed for conditions designed to even the playing field. By keeping certain details under wraps, the promoters have added an extra layer of intrigue, ensuring fans and analysts alike will be scrutinizing every development as fight night approaches.
At 195 max weight,
okay,
10 3-minute rounds,
Okay.
in 12-ounce gloves. And most of you guys know boxing, right? Most of the fights are with 10-ounce gloves. Fighters spar in 16-ounce gloves. 12-ounce and 10-ounce gives you a little bit more safety, which is the key here, given the size difference, but there's a massive experience difference. We will have 3 world-class judges ringside that the commission has approved to ensure there's a rendered decision for the fans. It will not go on their record, but there will be 3 experienced judges, some of the best in the business, giving their view of who won the fight.
So let me just follow up with this then. You know, the Florida statute says that it means an exhibition means a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts.
You saw the exhibition of Floyd and Logan.
Okay.
So just go with that, and if they weren't trying to hit each other,
Fair
then
enough.
tell me they weren't trying to hit each other.
Tank's gonna walk in at 160.
That's up to Tank. What I can tell you is Tank is focused on coming in the best shape of his life. It's not about gaining weight. It's about having the speed advantage.
What can we expect on the undercard? Championship fights?
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, we'll announce 5 fights, 4 of which are title fights. So yes, you can expect to see another MVP fully stacked card. No prospects on a big show like this. Yes, go ahead.
So we're matching this match in 4 years in the making. How do you mentally and then physically prepare for this match of a match like this?
As in, how do the fighters prepare?
You and as well as the fighters train with you as promoter.
I mean, look, we started MVP 4 years ago with the mission to be fighter first, right? And I think like this event is exactly that. We're giving Tank a massive platform and opportunity for the world to see who that young man is. He's misunderstood in many ways, but at heart, he is a great human being who has a family and wants to do big things to make an impact on the sport and take care of his family. So we're excited about that. And in terms of preparing for this, it's no different than Mike Tyson and Taylor Serrano. It's just another big event that's on a global scale.
Keisha, is there a rehydration clause involved?
No.